What's up, Fortnite fans? In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down how to win squad games in Fortnite Battle Royale. The gameplay in the background is featuring 3 subscribers, and I would love to give a big thank you to those who reached out to me and offered to help with the gameplay. Be sure to watch this video until the very end for a special announcement, and without further ado, let's get right into the video. Right off the rip, I want to talk about communication and its importance in squads modes. A lot of players think that communication is just telling your teammates how much damage you hit another player for, or where an enemy is on the map just by looking at your compass at the top of the screen. Yes, obviously that is communication, but that's more general communication. Out of 4 players in a squad, there's typically 1 or 2 people who just have a great knowledge of the game, and that 1 or 2 people are coordinating for the group. Communication involves being very clear about how many materials you have, what type of weaponry you have in your inventory, how much health you have, and even coaching your teammates if need be. Coaching is basically helping your teammates out by communicating with them while they're doing something wrong. When I'm in duos or squads and me and my teammates run into another team who have a sniper and my teammate starts to peek for too long, I'll immediately get on them and tell them not to peek for too long. If they continue to peek, I might even throw up a wall in front of them and tell them, listen, it's really not a good idea to start peeking, let's take another route. It's important to keep an open and honest discussion with your team about who's good at what so that there aren't any problems in game. Another example would be to divide all 4 players into different categories and ask your teammates who is good with what type of weapon. You have your RNG teammates who love being really aggressive, you have your sniper teammates who just seem to hit nearly 100% of the shots they take with a sniper, you have your demolition teammates who love RPGs so much they can barely play without them, and you have your coordinator who is very good at leading the team as well as keeping watch for other players and keeping everybody in check. Those aren't obviously all of the playstyles, but rather some good examples of the different playstyles that your team may be accustomed to. I'm going to go ahead and transition into the next topic that also involves communication, and that is at the very start of the game, which is landing. There's no way to get wins in squads if your whole squad is wiped out, and many squads lose in the first 3 minutes of being in the game because landing can be a very big issue in squads. Squads is way more chaotic than duos and solos, and saying that there are more players landing in one spot is an understatement. Let's do some math here. Let's say in a solo match there's about 5 to 6 people who land at Salty Springs. That's a moderately populated drop, and for Salty Springs that shouldn't be too congested because there's enough houses for everyone to land on and start looting up. Now multiply that by 3 or 4 and you have almost 24 people landing at Salty Springs. I know that a lot of squads like to go for as many kills as possible, which is why I'm not too concerned when I say that a populated drop is a bad drop in squads mode if you and your teammates are going for a win. When you go for a win in squads modes, you're going to want to land somewhere that isn't so populated just so you and your teammates can have a little bit of breathing room to start the game. If you and your team decide that landing at Snappy Shores isn't for you, here's 2 tips that I'm going to be giving you guys that should increase your success rate in populated cities. Tip 1 is going to be land 2 at a time. If you land with a buddy in squads modes, I would say a good 90% of the time you will survive that city. It's because when a lot of teams land, they choose just 1 house for each person, but you have to remember that there are up to 4 enemies in a single squad. If you and another teammate land at the same house together and one enemy does the same thing, instantly the enemy is at a disadvantage before the game even starts. Tip 2 is going to be rotating and looting fast. It doesn't matter what city you guys drop, if there's a good amount of people at this drop, the first thing you and your squad need to do is push people very early. A lot of teams are discombobulated and not yet ready to fight, and pushing the enemy teams will open up much more opportunity for your team and will ultimately keep everyone in your squad alive. Earlier in the video, I discussed having good knowledge of the game, and that brings us right into our next topic, which is rotating. The difference between a good squad and a mediocre squad is the ability to make smart rotations. In squads, it's very important to not only have the height advantage, weapon advantage, and health advantage over one team, but you want to have all of those advantages over 2 or 3 teams. In squads mode, you will always be third-partied unless you're far away from the circle. Rotating is arguably the most important thing in squads. Consider this. You and your team are rotating to the final circle and there's a huge mountaintop just waiting for a team to take control. If you guys have dynamite and RPGs and very powerful weaponry, the team that unfortunately makes it to that mountain second is going to have a very rough time trying to not only retake that high ground, but survive that fight. Unless it's a team of only pro players, the team that has the health advantage, the loot advantage, and the height advantage will ultimately win. When your squad rotates, ask yourselves these 3 questions. Where's the high ground? Is there a fight nearby? And where will the other players be rotating from? Make sure you guys are always checking to see where other players might be. There are a lot of good squads that will punish squads with not so much talent just for making the wrong fundamental moves. Getting into the final fight can be very overwhelming for some squads because it's the final fight and most of you guys can get nervous here and there, and that's totally understandable. But you can easily break that bad habit of being nervous by just remembering that it's only one more fight and you guys will get the win. Also, another technique I use to calm myself down in final fights is just remembering that this isn't the only time I'm going to be in this situation, so I should just make the best of it, and ultimately in the end I will always get more wins. When you guys are in a final fight with another team, the first thing everyone in the squad should do is start putting pressure on other teams. If it's the final fight, make sure that all of your team is applying as much pressure as possible to the other team, and a good move would be to have 2 people rush and then 2 people dump some rounds into the other player's builds and then follow the other 2 teammates in to push the other team. This allows only for your team to have the advantage no matter what, and the other team will ultimately fold because they have no way of actually being able to do anything. Make sure you guys have height advantage nearly 100% of the fight and keep yourself covered. If you guys get lost in a fight and don't know where anyone is, turtling is a good way to keep yourself alive in the fight, and honestly it's such a good way to just kind of stop, pause, calm down, and reload your weapons, take everything in, and then get right back into the fight. Use all of these tips, ladies and gentlemen, and you will get more victory royales. Now, I want you guys to always keep on the lookout for community posts on my channel. This is somewhat my news station for my channel where I can keep you guys updated on everything that goes on with the channel. I love getting gameplay with you guys, and I want to keep doing it to keep you guys more involved on the channel. Honestly, I feel like a lot of YouTubers just kind of like bask in the glory that they have and the fame and stuff. They really don't care about their subscribers, but I really do care about you guys. I really do care about everybody who watches my videos, so I really do want to get you guys involved on the channel more. So I think this is what I'm going to be doing more often. I'll just put out some community posts and say, hey, anybody who wants to get in a video, join me around this time, and I'm probably going to keep this up. So if you guys really do want to get into a video, just be sure to keep watching for those community posts. And anyway, guys, I'll see you next video. Peace out.
Oh, that's lit. Send that to all of us.